Yo, what's up guys? This is Andre Kenshin here, and today we're gonna be doing update for Bracketology January 12th. Another added 3 days since the Tuesday scrap, and now the update is January 12th, 2024, and today is January 13th. I was late now right here on the upload since the simulation of NBA 2K12. So it's time for the Bracket Watch. You saw the top overall seed Purdue Boilermakers are still the same after they failed and a stunner upset on the road to take on Nebraska. Wake Forest, they've down to the first team out, and the last team in is a single. Why unbelievable performance to beat back to back with the rankings they beat Providence and Marquette. Wow! I remember that happening. 4 of 5 upsets I ever seen, but almost top 5 upsets are almost that Xavier lost the Connecticut, and others like Iowa State beats Houston, and this game marks the first loss of the Houston in the first season since Rickman in the Big 12. Purdue lost to Nebraska, Kansas lost to UCF, and Mississippi State beats Tennessee. What a huge upset. Here's the on the bubble. You saw in the last 4 buys Northwestern Province, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. The last 4 in South Carolina, Colorado, Cincinnati, and St. Paul. The first 4 out Wake Forest, Miami, James Madison, and Texas. I believe Texas, despite in the rankings, are number 25, and James Madison is down to the bracketology since a good start on the field, including the upset over Michigan State and then the first loss to the Southern Miss. And the next 4 out, Indiana State, TCU, Kansas State, and Virginia. Here's the 16-8 Rockets. There are a ton of many changes. You saw both Eastern Kentucky and Lafayette is in a new field in the first 4. Oklahoma, Marquette, and Ohio State down to 5, 4, and 10 since they lost to TCU and I believe is Butler. And then back-to-back loss against the unranked team, the St. Paul and Butler. For the Atlantic down to 6, I believe we've lost to Charlotte and they close, and then a final call and controversial ends the 2 lane win. Princeton and Duke has moved up to 11 and 3. In the South, you saw NC Central down to first 4. Mississippi State has moved up to number 9. Creighton as well has moved up to number 4. Crimson has moved down to number 5. South Carolina and Colorado has moved down to first 4. Kentucky is moved up to number 3. Are you kidding me? But despite victory, a blowout win over Missouri by 13, and Jacksonville State is in the new field alongside Drexel is moved up to number 14. In the West, Arizona has moved up to number 1 after the Kansas moved down to number 2 because they failed the UCF. That was an upset that remarks the UCF beats Big 12 in the 21 years. No. UCF beats him. UCF beats him. UCF beats him. About Tennessee still the same in the number 2 since after losing to Mississippi State. St. John's moved up to number 8. Nebraska is in the new field after they performed upset over Purdue. Alongside with Drake, San Diego State and High Point is moved up to 4 and 13. Colorado State is moved down to 6. Oakland is in the new field. Northwestern is moved up to number 10. And Eastern Washington is in the new field. And finally, in the East, UConn still the same. Sarton is moved up in the first 4 after moved down to 16 seed. Michigan State, Texas A&M, and BYU is moved down to 8, 9, and 5. St. Mary's is back in the new field since after the rankings is out, including upsets. Cincinnati is moved down to the first 4. St. Joe's in the new field, and St. Peter's is moved up to number 15. So I will keep those Google Sheets right here, those right inside the Google Sheets right here, and my title is Bracketology Update. So I was using it. Did all of those teams are used, they're popular, they're using site. So to check out those Google Sheets video, we're gonna check out many times since the beginning of the preseason. So hope you enjoyed this video. We're catching up and see we'll find out. So to continue more Bracketology on January 20 will keep it because continue a 3 day update. So because they start of the new conference. So starting off in the Midwest, so Purdue versus the winner of Eastern Kentucky or Lafayette. I think Purdue will win. Lafayette, yeah, Lafayette. So sorry. Ole Miss versus Gonzaga. I believe the Bulldogs will win. Oklahoma will take down over McNeese State. Marquette will take out over Stanford. Florida Atlantic will beat over Princeton. Duke will take out over Vermont. Nevada versus Ohio State. I believe the Buckeyes will win. And Tennessee will take down Troy. And the next up in the Midwest. And I'm gonna do the opposite with Gonzaga takes out the Purdue. Marquette over Oklahoma in a close game. I believe Marquette will win. For the Atlantic versus Duke, I think the Duke Blue Devils will win over for the Atlantic. Ohio State versus Tennessee, I think the Tennessee will win. And then Sweet 16 matchup, Gonzaga versus Marquette, I think the Marquette will win. Duke versus Tennessee, in a close game, I think the Blue Devils getting revenge on Tennessee. They met in the second round that Tennessee beats Duke, and now Duke beat Tennessee in the revenge. And my Elite 8 of the Midwest Final Four spot on the line, I have to go the Blue Devils will win. Next up in the South, Houston versus the winner of Merrimack versus NC Central. And sadly, because Houston fell to Iowa State in a close game that happened, Houston dropped his first ever loss of the Big 12 conference since the Reliquement. So I'm gonna take the Cougars will win. Utah versus Mississippi State. I have to go. Utah will win. Crimson versus Oregon, and I'm gonna take opposite here, as Oregon will take out over Crimson. Creighton will pass over Akron. Zips. Dayton faces the winner of South Carolina versus Colorado, and my first four team will be beat over Dayton. I'm gonna keep scroll there as well. Kentucky versus Drexel. I have to go. Kentucky will win over Drexel. Utah State versus Texas Tech. I have to go. The Red Raiders will win. And Wisconsin versus Jacksonville State. I have to go. Wisconsin will win. Next out, in the second round, we got Houston will pass over Utah. Creighton will pass over Oregon. South Carolina or Colorado versus Kentucky. I have to go. The Wildcats win. And I'm gonna upset. I have to go. Texas Tech pass over Wisconsin. Next spot of the South region is Sweet 16. And we're gonna upset here as the Creighton Blue Jays will take down over Houston. And Kentucky will take down over Texas Tech. And my final spot of the South region, sorry Creighton, I'm not gonna enter the Final Four as the Wildcats will move on to the Final Four. Next up in the East, we got Connecticut versus Sarton. I have to go to Connecticut will win. Michigan State will pass over Texas A&M. BYU versus St. Mary's, and I'm gonna upset as the battle between the former WCC conference. I have to go if the Gales will win. Baylor will take out over UC Irvine. Alabama facing the winner of Cincinnati or Sinho. I have to go Alabama will win. Illinois take out over Morehead State. Providence or Iowa State. I have to go. The Iowa State will win over Providence, and North Carolina versus St. Peter's. This rematch of the 2022 Elite Eight that North Carolina won over St. Peter's. I remember this marks the first and only time that St. Peter's making history into the Elite Eight as the 15th seed, just like the coin flip challenge. And I'm gonna take the Tar Heels for win over St. Peter's. Next up in the second round, the Huskies will take out over Michigan State. Baylor will take out over St. Mary's. I believe Baylor is stopped at St. Mary's. Alabama beats Illinois again as the Crimson Tide continues to beat over Illinois. And North Carolina will pass over Iowa State. I remember that the Michigan Wolverines won the college football championship over Washington. So I remember that game in Houston, the Michigan beats North Carolina. Michigan beats Washington. Sorry. And this week 16, I have to go the Huskies beats Baylor, Alabama, North Carolina, and I have to go the North Carolina win. In the Final Four, I'm gonna Elite 8 in the East. I have to go to Tar Heels. Will take out the Huskies. And my finally in the West, Arizona versus South Dakota State. I have to go to Wildcats win. St. John's versus Nebraska. Nebraska they made it to the NCAA tournament, and 10 years ago they fell to Baylor. But this time I have to go to Nebraska will win over St. John's. Memphis and Drake. I have to go to Tigers will win. San Diego State take out over High Point. Colorado State take on Grand Canyon. I have to go to Grand Canyon will win. And Auburn will pass over Oakland. Villanova versus Northwestern. I have to go to Villanova will win. And Kansas will take out over Eastern Washington. Next out, in the second round, we have the Arizona will beat over Nebraska. San Diego State will take out over Memphis. In a close game, I have to go to Aztecs will win here. Grand Canyon versus Auburn. I have to go the Tigers will win. And Villanova, Kansas. Let's go the Jayhawks will win over Villanova. Next is in West Region Sweet 16. Arizona versus San Diego State. I have to go the Wildcats will win. Auburn versus Kansas. And I'm going to take the Kansas Jayhawks will win in the Final Four spot of the West region on the line. And I have to go the Wildcats win as the only number 1 seed in the Bracketology update on January 13th. So in my Final Four, the battle between the 4 Blue Bloods again. We got Duke versus Arizona, Kentucky versus North Carolina. In the Final Four spot, my Final Four I have to go. No, Arizona will win over the Duke, and Kentucky will beat over North Carolina in my national championship. And once again, shout out for Super Celtic 24 as the Kentucky Wildcat team. My favorite said Super Celtic 24 Kentucky Wildcat fan. And my Andre Kenshin, my me, is my Creighton Blue Jay fan. And we're gonna go the Kentucky Wildcats will win over Arizona. And my total points is in 16 points. So that's it for now. This is Andre Kenshin. More Bracketology update in my video. I will click on the new playlist. So if you're gonna check out my new playlist right here on the .com. So hopefully join this video and we'll catch it up. I will see you next video on the Bracketology update on January 20. And keep the NBA 2K12 upcoming games. And no more NFL video picks is done. Sign up for now and peace out. Bye!